Sean, I normally like to introduce people because a lot of times I don't know them, and I love what they send me. And you and I have been friends now for, I don't know, I don't even know. When did we start? It's got to be over 5 years now.
Like 2018 or 19?
Yeah.
18 or 19 at least.
Yeah. And you've been I've always been so impressed with who you are as a person. I'm impressed with what you've done in your life, in your work, which we'll talk about, and also what you have been doing in your life since you retired, right? Because it's retirement, right? So many people, I don't think, know automatically. I don't think you always announce yourself that way, but you're a retired veteran from war and from being in service. And I would like it if you wouldn't mind. I would love it if you talked about, in the very beginning here, because it's the U.S. Air Force more than just like, I'm Canadian, so like we think of the word military, right? We're not that in depth and focused on military like you guys are, and we really rely on the U.S. military and every aspect that this country does to protect and to do the things it does. But you have been for so many years. I want you to just give us a bit of an introduction once I finish introducing you. I'm just looking at this because I don't want to get it wrong, because you're so full of so many powerful things, and your attitude, and not only your attitude, but your focus on the things that you really care about have changed. And I love it, because what's been interesting for you and I is it's really matched up in a lot of ways. And so one thing I love is you're a TEDx speaker. You're a TEDx speaker once, TEDx speaker twice, and then a TEDx speaker the third time. And you don't get to be, I know this, it's not easy to be a TEDx speaker. I want to do that. It has not happened yet, but it's very impressive what you've done. I love that you're what's called a master implementer and suicide awareness trainer. Master Resilience Implementer, which you and I work together on that. Yes?
Yes.
And then Suicide Awareness Trainer.
And look at you now. Look at you thriving.
Yes. But you have helped me in my own growth personally and in my business. Right. I still refer to the work that we did together that was for me, because I purchased your resilience trainer program that you had, and it made a huge difference in my life. I like it. It's not a bunch of baloney, right? It's so good, and it's impacting me still today. So being a resilience implementer and then a suicide awareness trainer, which I know we're going to talk about that, business positioning strategist, and you're so good. And you know what I don't like is when some people list a bunch of stuff like this and they're not really that good at it. You are good at it. You're very good. International podcast host and create, launch, Monetize podcast. It's incredible, the work that you've done in the past. I don't know how you've done it all. And then the best-selling author. So that is just huge. So why don't you just take a few minutes and tell us like whatever's come to your mind as I've just introduced you through all those things. And I'd love to hear myself what you have to say. So go ahead.
Yeah, I spent 20 years and 4 days in the United States Air Force, and I did all kinds of jobs. I was a crew chief, aircraft mechanic on F-15s, F-16s, F-22s, A-10s, did a little work on C-130s. And then I went to be a drill instructor for 4 years. I went back to basic training, which was how I got started speaking. I was a basic training instructor, and I speak at colleges and high schools and junior ROTC drill competitions. I was a national drill judge for the national Texas championship, whatever they want to call it, drill meet. And then I became a resilience trainer and a suicide awareness trainer within the military. And I became the lead trainer, and I led that program for 4 years from 2015 to 2019. And then in 2016, I said, okay, I'm ready to go out on my own. I've been getting booked to speak at different places. I want to get paid now. I wrote a book in 2016. Launched my radio show, Life Transformation Radio, launched that in 2017. And then I said, okay, 2016, I said 5 years, because I'll retire in 2021. 5 years, I will be a TEDx speaker. In 2017, I said, nope, 3 years. I will do it in 3 years. Later that year in 2017, in December of 2017, I delivered my first TEDx talk. I did it in 1 year. I went from 5 to 3, and I was like, okay, I can do it in 3. And it happened in a year. And everybody always asks, like, how did you do all that? How do you get everything done? Number one rule of success: schedule everything, every moment of your day. And that's something that you and I worked on. Schedule everything. If you think that you want to do something in 3 years, schedule it. Today, I'm going to do this. Tomorrow, I'm going to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And you do it. Most people watch it happen. I want to make it happen. I don't want to watch it happen for everybody else. I want to make it happen for myself. And so I work very hard on strategically working on DPAs, which are dollar producing activities. There's some things we do every day that it doesn't amount to anything. It's not going to do anything. It's just filler work or whatever. I concentrate on dollar producing activities. And so, yeah, I have been speaking since 2009 when I became a drill instructor. I get paid to speak. I've done 3 talks, TEDx talks, and I host 3 podcasts. And now, as of this month, I co-host a 4th podcast. And last year in November, I became the vice president of a nonprofit called One Life Fully Lived. So now I'm the VP on the board of a nonprofit.
That is overwhelming and impressive. And I'm so grateful that you've had all these things happen. And I'm not at the level you're at, and I'm working there, right? And even you've just said some things that have reminded me the fundamentals of what you taught when I went through resilience training with you. And I think it's where a lot of people can make the mistakes. And I know this is about kindness. It's not about building a business. But if you don't if you focus more on what things look like and what people think about you, and are you impressing people and are you growing, that doesn't make your business. That's not what makes you succeed. It's being focused on, well, you do need to put in the effort like you did. So we need credibility for sure. And a profile, meaning profile even like that people know us because of what we've done. So you've just done so much. What I was surprised by and very curious about, couldn't wait to talk to you about it, is the work that you're doing now towards suicide prevention. And I've seen a number of posts that you've made where you've encountered situations with people that were like that, meaning I don't know if anyone committed suicide that you talked about on social media, but you sure have talked about just raising awareness about suicide. What brought you in that direction? How did that happen?
It was because I went through my own battle with suicide and really hard deployments, and I developed a drinking problem. And since the show is about kindness, I think it's only fitting that we talk about how we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to be kind to other people. And most parents will tell their children, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But we don't take that advice into our lives. We don't take it into ourselves. We talk so bad about ourselves. You already said, I mean, I'm not at your level. And I mean, but you're at a different level. You are the most amazing videographer and video editor I have ever encountered. I don't know anybody who is doing the caliber of work that you're doing with your own podcast. There's top shelf. There are top shelf podcasters out there that are absolutely crushing the downloads, but their videos are trash. They are just hot garbage. And so they're relying on their promo work. They're relying on Facebook ads. They're relying on their own marketing. They're relying on their own content. But just imagine if they had an Ed Squire in their back pocket on their team that was blowing them out on video, because right now 80% of content is consumed through video. We got the Reels, we got the Facebook Lives, the YouTube. It's never going to change. That stuff's never going to change. Content through video is where it's at with TikTok and everything else. So if you can make platform specific video content, Ed Squire is the one to do it for you. But you got to be kind to ourselves. And a lot of people mask these emotions and say, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. But what they don't tell you is they're looking in the mirror and they don't like what they see. And so on social media, they put up this big front. On the podcast, they're like, my life is so great. And they hang up and they throw their headphones down and they're like, this sucks, man. Like, I hate this. Can't believe I'm doing this. But they are literally on their podcast going, I love my life. Be kind to yourself.
That's
and show yourself a little patience and grace.
Yes, because what's interesting is like what I've finally chosen to do in my life was, because I've spent decades. It's actually why I don't even know if I've told you this or not, but I'm making a documentary of my life. Did I tell you that? Yeah. And it's going to be hardcore in the sense that I'm going to be telling truth about who I am. But I think our authenticity with what we're doing is important. I mean, I just hated myself because I was suicidal. Like you know what it's like to be. And then trying to come out of that, I finally realized I need to like myself, love myself, and tell myself that I am like that. And it doesn't matter what you do. That's the thing. Would you agree? It doesn't matter what you do to make you love yourself. Right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that with affirmations and words of encouragement, and there's a lot of other meditations and things that you can do. And in order to, I mean, you can say everything you want. You can stand in front of the mirror and go, I'm worthy. I am intentionally and wonderfully made. If you don't believe it, it's pointless. It's pointless, right? That's the thing. Some people, it's so hard. You can immediately tell the people who don't love themselves, because you'll give them a compliment and they'll go, oh no, and they'll try to deflect it off of them. Like they're not even worthy of receiving the compliment.
Right.
They're not even worthy of receiving the words.
Yes.
And I equate it to a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or just a young toddler or a child. During Christmas, they don't care who the present's from. They're getting this gift. It's a gift, and they want it, and they want this gift. They don't care who it's from. Just give me the gift, right? Because they're receiving something, and they're so open to receiving. You're like, no, now go thank your grandmother. Now go. They're like, I don't care. Like, I don't care who it's from. Look what and they're so happy they have something. And then it's weird. Maybe it's bullying in middle and high school. Maybe it's the story that we tell ourselves. Maybe it's the way that we think, feel, or believe about ourselves. But at some point, it starts to matter who it's from. It starts to matter if my mom or dad is telling me that they're proud of me. It matters if my spouse, significant other, my partner is affirming me, giving me words of encouragement, telling me that they're proud of me. Words matter. And so you tell a child, like, I love you. They're like, love you. And they don't understand. But as they get older, they understand the words better. Then they understand the meaning. Then, I always said, like, I want to raise children that do not need therapy because of my parenting. That means a lot to me. I think that you have to love yourself first.
Yes.
Before you can really love other people. And I don't think it really takes that much of an effort to be kind to someone, to give them words of affirmation or cheerlead or whatever. There's so many times where somebody succeeds faster than I do, or somebody does something more than what I'm doing. I'm like, dang, man, I'm happy for you. Like, kind of makes me want to step up, right? It kind of makes you like, man, I'm not doing enough. Like, man. But then somebody goes 3 TEDx talks. That's incredible. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. And to me, I'm like, okay, like that's just, I mean, I worked hard for it. Like, and we would just blow off our own accomplishments. Somebody else compliments us on our work or whatever. And we're like, it's no big deal. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm good at it. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, we don't think it's a big deal, but we're an inspiration to those people. We cannot write ourselves off. As we are speaking to ourselves and to others in a kind way, we also need to be kind to our accomplishments and our successes, because we never know who we're going to be inspiring to do the same. Someone who does not have a TEDx talk is like, he's got 3. Oh my gosh. Like that's incredible. And we're like, it's fine. Whatever.
It's part of your journey, right? Part of your journey. Is that how you look at it? We might be an inspiration to somebody. So we can never write ourselves off, and we can never write off the accomplishments and successes that we have, because they could be inspiring someone else to do the same thing. There's so many things happening in society, in the culture, in our world today on so many different levels. What is grabbing your attention to the point where you're digging in to make a difference? And I know you well enough to know that what you pursue isn't just because of money. Money is the number one thing. Money is a part of what we need to do, but it's not the one thing that we pursue. So what are you thinking about when I ask that question?
I'm thinking about how I can make the biggest impact, how I can leave the biggest legacy, how I can solve the biggest problem. And there's a saying, and I can't ever remember how it goes, but it goes something like, if you don't make them feel your presence, if they don't miss you when you're here, they won't miss you when you're gone, or something like that. It's some weird, like make them feel your presence when you're not in the room. Like, you know what I mean? So it matters. It matters when you are talking to people. And as a speaker, we always tell people that it's not what you say, it's how you make them feel. And you have to make them feel your presence, especially when you're not around. And that is what leads to suicide and not speaking colors. It's like, nobody will miss me when I'm gone. Nobody will miss me.
Right.
I'm just such a burden.
Right.
Or, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's important, I feel like, to make the biggest impact to where it stands the test of time with someone. And it matters the work that you do and how it affects other people. If it doesn't affect other people positively, like if you don't make a conscious effort every day to change one life, to meet one new person, and I know you're really good at this, like you meet all kinds of people. And so if you don't change a life, meet a life, something, then what is your purpose? There's the say, I looked this up just now, present saying or whatever, and there's a couple that I love, and it says, if your absence doesn't affect them, your presence never will.
Wow.
Huge.
Wow.
And then there's another one that says, let your presence be known, but let your absence be felt. And so here's how I do it, is I really take into account that it's not about what I say so much as how do I make that person feel? There's a couple people that I'll have conversations with, and they're looking around in a crowd, or they're on their phone, like looking down. They're like, yeah, hold on. Right. And then there's other people who will look you dead in the eye. They will look you straight into your face, and they make you feel like you're the only person in the room, and you can have a conversation with them, and they're leaning. Oh man, when I have conversations with people and they lean in,
yeah,
and they're like, yeah, like the head nods. It's like, yeah, I look for that in a crowd. Whenever I'm speaking, I'm searching the room for that head nod person. And then I speak directly to them for about five or 7 seconds. And I just make them feel like they're the only person in the room, in the audience.